what concerns you the most with Common Core?
Well, I believe that education should be something that happens with parent involvement and at the local level. And I feel like Common Core has caused our a whole nation to come under national direction, where the testing is decided at the national level, sight unseen. Teachers don't know what's in there. The curriculum has been decided at the national level, and now our local school boards and our local teachers and our local parents aren't having the say they need to have about what is taught in their schools for their students. So that's my biggest concern. So.
Yeah, and what schools are involved in Oregon right now? Is it the entire state?
All public schools, as far as I understand, all or almost all of the schools, the special schools that usually were parent-led, or a lot of the private schools are starting to kind of wink toward Common Core.
Oh, no.
I know that there's Catholic schools that are fighting about Common Core because they've said they want to be part of Common Core, and the parents are saying, no, thank you. And so there's infighting within the Catholic schools. I know of a local school in McMinnville, a private school, and they're trying to do Common Core-like language arts. I don't know what that means. I think sometimes they have more freedom, so they think they can get away with doing some of it and making it, seem like they're moving in that direction so their students can go back to public school. But I don't think that they're going to do the type of Common Core our public schools are.
You know what? I hate to see Christians, Christian schools, Christian churches.
Yeah.
I say as long as they stay a little right of left, they think they're good. Oh,
Yeah.
Look, I'm more righteous than the left wingers or whatever. Instead of, why don't we make the establishment come to the right? It's like, the public school systems have never worked very well. I mean, except maybe in the 60s and beforehand, it's gotten worse and worse. And so private schools became more and more popular. And why don't we stick to private schools at work, which I'm a product of. I'm a product of both, and so I know which is better.
Yes,
it's definitely a private school that, at least the kind that I went to. It works. So why are we going to try to, be like them a little bit?
Why fix what's not broken?
Yeah.
Especially with the private schools have been outpacing public schools in testing and college and all the things that we want for our students. And so why are they changing to fit a new mold that hasn't even been tested? That's the other thing about Common Core, is it hasn't been tested anywhere. Some of the different modes have been tested and failed in different places, but the whole program has never been tested. They didn't even start it off in one place and test it there, and then everybody has to have it sight unseen all over the nation. How is that?
Yeah.
How is that good for our students?
It sounds like healthcare and people who are starting to.
Sight unseen.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, our legislature didn't even vote on it. It was accepted sight unseen. They said you don't have to do. This was the hook. You don't have to do Bush's No Child Left Behind anymore if you accept this sight unseen. Well, how? You don't take curriculum. You don't take food sight unseen. Why would you take curriculum sight unseen?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like people electing Obama because he's not like Bush. Well, I think he's a lot worse than Bush. Which personally, I like Bush despite what I hear some people saying about him.
Yeah. I think he left some doors open that
I agree.
Obama ran through.
But
I would say that basically he was at least trying to do what was reasonable for the country, trying to move in a reasonable way. I think he made some mistakes, but I think that Obama's doubled them or tripled them or quadrupled them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, isn't that for sure? Well, I'm just now thinking of this. In 1963, there is a congressional record that the communists were trying to take over. And so, which back then they knew to keep the republic and to keep people free, that's not a good thing.
Yeah.
And so the 1963 congressional record, they put this in so it went on record so people would know that what to look for, when the propaganda and the communist propaganda came our way. And I'll tell you what, there's 45 points. And by the way, you can go to my website at 11thhourpolitics.com and look at the whole thing yourself. We have been bamboozled. We have gone along with one thing after another, after another, after another. But what they say about schools is you get control of the schools. This is number 17. Use them as transmission belts for socialism and current communist propaganda. Soften the curriculum. Get control of teachers' associations. Put the party line in textbooks. So in the textbooks, there's going to be communist propaganda. Now, and there's more that they talk about schools and obviously the agenda, get into churches, demoralize people, present homosexuality and degeneracy and promiscuity as normal healthy behavior, and so on and so forth, 45 points. And I would assume that we're going to find some of these points tentacles in the curriculum. What do you say about that?
Well, it sure left the door wide open. They have changed the language arts from being about literature to being about factual propaganda, basically, because no longer can we just have students read good books so they can learn good reading, good writing skills, but now they can introduce all these. It gives them an opportunity to introduce anything they wanted. Global warming, yeah, they can introduce anything they want. How many different kinds of families can there be? And that opens a whole door. Just whatever they would like to introduce, they can introduce through those. I can't think of the right word, but the factual papers that they have to read, because they're supposed to read things that are nonfiction.
Nonfiction and fiction.
So yeah, and so they're supposed to read things like boring things like how to make a potato or whatever. They have a lot of boring things in there as well, but they also have a lot of opportunities to introduce propaganda in those, because it comes from the federal government. It comes from this group of men that got together and decided that these are the things that students should learn. These are the things that students should learn at this age and that age. And they weren't even teachers. The people that got together weren't even teachers that put these together. They're not been tested. Nobody's gone through and made sure they work. They keep saying that it's done at the state level, but it's not true. And I think that a lot of teachers agree that it was done in too big a hurry. There was no time to ramp up, time to prepare. There was no time to evaluate the curriculum. It wasn't evaluated. It was just like, you have to choose a Common Core curriculum, and who's putting out those Common Core curriculums? A lot of friends of Bill Gates are putting out the Common Core curriculum. So we get back to big business, big government, federal government coming together to collude to get.
Yeah. And this is fascism. So the Republicans have been accused in the past, and this is also in the 45. The communists, they were going to go after the Republicans basically for big business and go after the Democrats for big expanded government and social programs. But now the two have really collided in this. When you talk about Bill Gates, it's fascism, the government and the Bill Gates type coming
together.
They're
working together.
Yeah.
That it's not the states picking what's the curriculum. It's not the local people picking the curriculum. It's somebody there's different ones they can pick. You can choose A, B, or C that fit the Common Core. But, so yeah, you get to pick something, but it's aligned with Common Core, so it's going to have those elements.
Wow.
Where, of propaganda, if you ask me, that's of things that are developmentally inappropriate for students, of just not having a good flow from in the classroom
Okay.
because it hasn't been tested.